Hey guys, welcome back. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what I think about buying designer handbags. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to call this video, but I think it's going to be along the lines of my mentality around buying designer handbags. Do I think that these are good investments? So along those lines, I wanted to share my 5 thoughts around the topic. The price tag of these designer handbags are often controversial because a lot of people don't believe in spending this kind of money on a material thing, a handbag. But I believe anyone who's watching this video is in this luxury community who love high-end fashion and see these as good investments for their wardrobes, and I am one of them. So I just wanted to share my thoughts on it. I wanted this video to open a bit of a conversation and discussion about the topic. So if you have any thoughts on the matter, do share your thoughts in the comments down below. I'd love to have a discussion with all of you. So in my opinion, the most important thing to acknowledge in this conversation is that bags are just things, whether luxury or not. So I personally feel if I do understand that for myself, it is okay to indulge in some handbags that I see the value in, because at the end of the day, these are just things. Sure, some of them may carry a sentimental value, like it was a gift from your loved one for a special occasion or something like that. But at the end of the day, these are things that we can really do without. So obviously your health, happiness, your relationships are more important things, and there are much more important material things like you need housing and food and things like that. So I feel like as long as we have a solid perspective on what is actually important in life and what is just the extra niceties, I think it is completely okay for us to indulge in little things that we really enjoy. So if time comes that I need the money for something else, or if I'm not really into luxury bags anymore, I'll be completely happy to sell them on and just move on with my life. So that is my number 1 thought. The second point will be talking about whether I think these are investments. So I don't really see luxury handbags as investments in the traditional sense, like properties and shares in stocks, but I do see them as assets. So the luxury bags may not give you the same return a property or shares might give you over the long run, but at least they'll be worth something at the end of the day if you do decide to sell them. I'm actually reading this book called Your Life or Your Money at the recommendation of beautiful Eileen from Colorful Noir. She has a fabulous YouTube channel about mindful shopping, so I'll leave her channel linked down below. She recommended this book and it is fantastic. In a nutshell, it just talks about what is the true cost you're paying for buying things. So anyway, I do recommend that you read the book, and I do listen to audiobooks whenever I commute to work, so that has been keeping me really entertained. But anyway, in that book, it talks about working out your net worth, so you can kind of work out your financial position, and it talks about obviously, adding up all your assets and then subtracting all your liabilities from your assets. And the funny thing is, when you work out your net worth, you can count anything in your possession that will be worth something that can be converted into liquid cash pretty quickly. And I immediately thought, other than the house, the car, and the big items that I own, the next probably biggest chunk of things that I own would be luxury handbags, and they are definitely of value, and I can convert them into liquid cash very quickly because they often are very fast to sell. Even if you have to pay a consignment fee, you can just sell it to a consignment service. So although I don't see my handbags as actual investments, they are definitely assets. So in terms of investments, from my understanding, there are 2 types of investments. So one type of investment is the most ideal investment, which is, I think they call it the 2-dimensional investment, where it generates income for you on a regular basis and also over time has capital growth. So for example, with your properties, you get rental income if you rent it out, if it's an investment property, and at the same time, if you hold it for long enough, say over 10 years, the property value also goes up. And same goes for shares that are dividend paying. And then there are 1-dimensional investments like gold. You just hold on to it. It doesn't generate any income for you, but if you hold it for long enough, hopefully the value of it will go up. And I do see some of my more classic handbags in that sort of 1-dimensional investment category. Yes, still very loosely, but for example, an Hermes Birkin or Kelly, if I held on to them for the next 10 years, even if I didn't keep them in the most perfect condition, even if they show a little bit of wear and tear, because their retail prices go up every single year, I will probably be able to make a little bit of profit or at least not lose my money. So if I compare that to if I had other hobbies and spent a lot of money on, say, drinking or, cigarettes or anything like that, you literally have nothing to show for it. So if you look at it that way, luxury handbags can be some sort of an investment or at least an asset in your life. The third point kind of ties in with my second point, and it is that luxury handbags do actually make me a better person at prioritizing my finances. So because I do like splurging on luxury handbags, I often have to save up or set aside a little bit of money every single week so I can have a pool of money where I can draw from when an item presents itself that I really want to buy. So in that way, if you are a responsible shopper, it makes you much better at budgeting. So the other thing that I wanted to mention is obviously you should never go into debt over luxury items. There's an article on Purse talking about Hermes bags, and it was like a Q&A about these bags, and someone actually has gotten into a debt of something like $27,000 and wanted to ask the editor of Purse to help. And hearing about these things is actually really helpful because we all can learn and remind ourselves that no bag is worth really going into debt over. So I think if you are a responsible budgeter, having this sort of side little guilty pleasure of buying handbags at the end of the day is not such a guilty thing to do, because if you have budgeted for it and it is your hobby and you're frugal in other aspects of your life and you have all your other financial responsibilities checked, then I actually personally think it is completely a really good hobby to have, because like I said in the previous point, compared to a lot of the other expensive hobbies, at least you end up with a nice group of assets that you can liquidate if need be in the future. We all hope that we don't have to, but we never know what the future holds, and it's just nice to know that we can recoup a big portion of our money that we spent on our bags. The fourth point I want to discuss is the opportunity cost of buying designer handbags for your own personal life situation and for your own personal lifestyle. So whether or not spending this kind of money on a designer bag is worth it for your own lifestyle, you can only answer. So if you are someone who appreciates a lot of other things in life, for example, luxury traveling, if you look at purchasing a luxury handbag for $3,000, for example, you can actually use that same $3,000 for not buying this bag, but instead, if you do really enjoy traveling in luxury, then you can put that towards getting a really nice accommodation for a few days somewhere. And same goes for anything else. So the really important question here is, what would you actually rather spend your hard-earned money on? So this is what I mean by considering opportunity cost. So for me, I am more on the budget traveler side. So other than buying luxury things, the other thing that I really appreciate and enjoy in life is traveling. Not that I've traveled a lot, but I have been to a few places and I have absolutely enjoyed every single holiday that I've taken. And I know that for myself, I don't really need a fancy hotel. I don't really need to sort of go on business class on the airplane or anything like that. So for me, I am completely happy to go not so budget, but sort of go with an accommodation that's clean enough, that is just, providing me somewhere to sleep. Because for me, I love being out and exploring places when I'm traveling. So that is a comparison that I would make to sort of work out whether spending this much money on a handbag is actually worth it for my own priorities. And everyone's priorities are just really different. The next point I want to discuss is, I think we should just buy luxury handbags for our own enjoyment and not buy them to impress people. You know the saying, keeping up with the Joneses. I personally think you're never going to be satisfied if you are just buying handbags just to impress other people or just to show them off on social media, because then there'll be always someone who can afford more than you, or there's always going to be a new handbag that you don't have in your collection but every other blogger seems to have, or that sort of thing. So for me, I personally buy handbags that I really love and enjoy, and I think a really good testament to that is that I've really been into the more subtle, less logo-y pieces, like my Ferrero Lepage daily tote bag, as opposed to like a Neverfull from Louis Vuitton. So I've really really been enjoying the less recognizable luxury that I personally really enjoy myself. So I just really enjoy the craftsmanship, I enjoy the quality, and I just enjoy using them. So for me, my mentality around buying designer handbags is, as long as I get the enjoyment out of owning and using these items, it doesn't really matter how other people see it. So some people might tell me, why would you spend so much money on an item that's not even like popular or trendy? But because I really buy handbags just to enjoy myself, those things are just irrelevant. So these are my humble thoughts on buying designer bags. What do you guys think? Do you agree with the points I made? Do you disagree? Do you have other points that you want to raise? I'd love to know, do you think that designer handbags are investments, or are they just the biggest waste of money? I'd love to know either way what your thoughts are. If you're into luxury handbags like I am, I'll leave 2 luxury handbag related videos on screen, so do make sure you check them out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. As always, thank you so much for watching and spending some of your precious time with me today, and I can't wait to see you again soon in my next video. Bye guys!